Hey guys, it's Alex. Monday morning, yay. I don't know, I don't feel very refreshed after the weekend. We didn't do that much, but I just feel... so yeah, I'm sure you all noticed, well, yeah, as if there's like millions of people waiting in bated mouse clicks to, see my content released or whatever, but I didn't publish over the weekend except yesterday because Friday I ran out of space on my phone, and I was going to post the video that I posted yesterday on Friday, but I just didn't get a chance to. So then Saturday I just didn't, and then Sunday was when I finally realized I never posted that video. So, because I had asked my wife, "Oh, did you watch that?" And she's like, "I didn't even see it." And then I thought about it. I never posted it, so how would she have watched it? So anyway, enough babble. So today, I think I want to talk about at least one memory technique. There are a lot of memory techniques, and a lot of techniques that... The interesting thing about memory techniques is they can help you in a lot of situations and that you wouldn't realize. And they would help you a lot of times that, no, don't come over, turn signal, but I was right next to him, so... but they help you in a lot of times and in a lot of learning situations where you wouldn't think they would. And there's techniques, you may have heard of them, you may not have, called like mental markers. There's the memory palace technique, stuff like that. And the idea being that you paint a really vivid mental picture, and then you use that mental picture to recall it until you've cemented it in your brain, basically. That's something I haven't really heard a lot of when people talk about them. When people talk about these memory techniques, I've never heard anybody say it, so I'm not 100% certain that it's valid, but in my experience at least, and in the way they do talk about it, it sounds like the memory palace is like a transfer. Like you have your short-term working memory, which can hold like 7 to 10 objects at any one time, and then you have your long-term memory, and it seems like that is a way of holding it in your memory, like using a memory palace or using a mental marker is a way of holding it in your memory until it's cemented in your head, because it sounds like they'll use the same memory palaces and stuff like that for these ideas until they've learned them, and so then they just keep putting stuff there. So anyway, I'm talking about these all as if you already know what they are. Let's just skip to... I was using this the other day, and this is why I want to talk about it. I found it interesting that it worked so well and stuff. Basically the idea, I believe it's a bastardization. Well, it's not even really a bastardization. It's just not the full form usage of memory palace. It's more like just a singleton off, just one usage for this or that. So basically what I did was I was laying in bed. It was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I had woken up, and I was not 100%. I wanted to go back to sleep, but I couldn't, mostly because my mind was racing with ideas and interesting things I could talk about and think about and stuff. And my wife had woken up with me because we were, just because we both started the same time or something like that. And I kept, "Oh, what about this?" and stuff like that, and probably bothering her, and she kept sounding like she just wanted to sleep and stuff. So I was like, well, I should probably stop bringing new things up because we both want to sleep and we both need to sleep and blah, whatever. So I was like, well, I could turn and write this down, but I just got comfortable, and I don't want to make her uncomfortable. I don't like fidgeting, and I was almost asleep, so I didn't want to screw that up. And I had been having trouble getting back to sleep at that point, so it was good that I was almost asleep. Normally what I do is I have an idea, I write it down in one of my notebooks that's near my bed, and then I'm, relieved of it, and I don't have to think about it anymore, and I can sleep. instead, what I did in this case was, so the idea was, and this, I don't know if this is stupid or not, I haven't really looked into it, but I have it in my head, and I plan to look into it at least. The idea is an app that uses the accelerometer data of your phone and the accelerometer data of the movement that you make to kind of either plot out or animate out, or at least just tell you how a boomerang would fly if you threw it. Because I've always noticed that, like, boomerangs, they're supposed to do this coming back thing, but I'm never sure if it's because I don't have enough space to do it, and I'm also, like, afraid to just, like, whip it down the hill, like, from our house, because I'm sure that it would just hit our neighbor's house or something instead of coming back or whatever, and I'm not even 100% sure they actually come back, but it would calculate out and kind of run the physics of how the boomerang would fly and teach you how to throw them properly, even if you're not actually holding a boomerang. And the idea wouldn't be that you throw your phone. The idea would be that you hold your phone like you're going to throw it, and then just whip it and, like, see what happens, So, like I said, no judgment on the idea, and that's how ideas are made. You don't judge them until you've actually looked into them, because they could end up really stupid, or they could end up really good. And, but that's, when you come up with an idea, isn't the time to decide that, because otherwise your brain will be shy of coming up with ideas in the future. We'll talk about that another day. But, so, anyway, when I picture it, I picture somebody like the crocodile hunter. Oh, the loud bridge. Welcome to my commute for the last, like, 10 years of my life. So I picture, like, the crocodile hunter throwing a boomerang or something like that, because I'm apparently very, racist or whatever that would be. So then what I did was I pictured the first place that was very vivid to me, which apparently is my kitchen. And this is, the memory palace technique is basically you draw a very vivid environment, either whether it be a physical, like, real environment, or whether it be like a made-up environment that very well for some reason, or like anywhere that you can picture vividly, and then you place things throughout the area to remind you of things. So, like, in this case, like, you clean it out, like, nothing on the table, nothing anywhere on the counters or anything like that, and then you put your memories there instead. So what I did in this case, because the idea, of course, is to then the images you create that you place there, you make very vivid and you make very interesting. So in my case, I took this weird connection I had to the crocodile hunter with boomerangs, and I placed the crocodile hunter standing on the table getting ready to throw his phone at me, and that was my memory of it. So I was like, okay, so I did that, drew that picture in my head, kind of cemented it. The way you cement them is generally you just kind of go over the details of them. So, he's wearing his shorts, he's wearing his signature shoes, he's got his hair the same way, his phone was actually my phone, and whatever, so, like, you kind of just think of the details. And, like, I wasn't sure it would work, but it at least let me sleep at that point, like, relieved me of that idea and let me sleep. And also, it just, I don't know, it wasn't a super important, like, life-changing or world-changing idea, unless people find that throwing boomerangs really helps them or something, but, it wasn't super, like, world-changing, so I decided to, I decided to try this and see if it works. So then, I woke up the next day, and, 10 o'clock or whatever the next day, and sure enough, I vividly remembered the crocodile hunter standing on my table and getting ready to throw the boomerang when I walked in the kitchen. So, like, I was there in the kitchen, and I was like, oh yeah, that idea. Now I still remember it, and I didn't forget it. Even though normally, I'm sure everyone's had this. You have this great idea, like, right before you go to sleep, and then you go to sleep, and you're like, oh, I'll just remember it in the morning, and then you don't even remember that you had that idea the night before and stuff. So, And then I used it later. So then after that, we went and saw Suicide Squad, and like 20 minutes, 30 minutes, something like that, a period into the movie, but not toward the end. It was more toward the middle. One of the characters says, like, the humans don't worship us anymore, they worship machines, and so I will build a machine that will kill them all. And like, instantly in my head I had this picture of like her sitting somewhere, like at a workbench, building like a battle bot that just like had like a little like pick on the end that just bring, you know. And that was her machine, her human killing machine, destroying machine, you know. Like, so I wanted to relay this joke to my wife and my sister, because I thought it was funny sounding, and now to you. So but I had bothered them like 5 times already in the beginning of the movie, and B, didn't want to be that guy sitting there talking the entire movie, either with them or either from their perspective or from the perspective of the other people in the audience. So I put her at my kitchen table working on this BattleBot instead, and just very vividly pictured her sitting at my kitchen table working on this BattleBot, testing it out, you know, and possibly even like attacking Steve Irwin with it or something like that, and, you know, whatever, just there. And sure enough, when we came out, I remembered the joke. Like, I recalled that there was a joke, so then what I did was I just kind of like pictured the scenario, like the kitchen there, and I was like, oh yeah, okay. So then I told them the joke, and we all laughed a little bit, and I probably laughed harder than they did, as you know, and you know, I just thought it was neat because I didn't need to write it down. I didn't forget about it because it was like an in-the-moment sort of thing. And so, I don't know. It's a very worthwhile technique, I think. Obviously, this stuff was kind of weird, but like, you could use your mind as a notepad instead, you know? And this is how people remember things like shopping lists and stuff, too. I don't know that what I'm doing is considered a memory palace. I think it's more like mental markers, but I am placing them in something, so I think it might be like short-form memory palaces. But, so, you know, you can use this to remember a grocery list or something, too. I mean, remember that you need to get, you know, Bob's Red Mill flax seeds, and, you know, whatever, I don't know. Like, I'm not going to sit here and, like, make the references for you or whatever, because that's the difficult part. No, or not, that's not the difficult part. The difficult part is making... Like, if I made the references for you, then it wouldn't be helpful anyway, because the idea is you picture the first thing that comes to mind when you think about it. So if I thought of a boomerang, and then I thought of Australia, and I thought of Steve Irwin, you know, then that's what I did. You know, if you thought of a boomerang, and you thought of Australia, and you thought of the guy from Suicide Squad that threw one, that's what you did, you know, so my references wouldn't necessarily be helpful to you anyway. So yeah, I would definitely explore using this technique for things. It's very helpful, and I'm actually very surprised at how well it works, just because, like, I kind of doubted it to begin with. I was listening to a podcast about it on Friday, I think, or Thursday, and I kind of doubted the effectiveness just because it sounded like they always talk about memory things as if they're like the memory people, like the memory athletes or whatever and stuff. Like, they always talk about memory things as if it makes it sound like magic, you know? They're like, yeah, and I've got 10 memory palaces, and they help me remember all the languages I know and stuff like that, and it sounds like yeah, whatever, you know? But when you try it, at least on a small scale like this, it actually works, and it's actually kind of surprising. And I mean, I'd be kind of willing to try to apply that to something more complex, like, you know, a language or something like that. I think that'd be very interesting. So, but yeah, that's that. So, give it a shot. Quick summary of the technique in case, you know, I babbled too much and you didn't understand it. Basically, if you want to remember something, you find a vivid location to you, either real or not real or imagined of any kind, like from a game or from, you know, your life or from just your head. You just, like, make it up or whatever, and then I'm sure the imagined ones would be a little more difficult to use, but they seem to be talked about a lot, so I don't know if you just explore them constantly or what, but in your imagination. But, and then you find the thing you want to remember, and you kind of picture what it is you picture when you see it. Just kind of let your mind draw a picture of it, and then you just place it somewhere in a unique-ish location, doing something memorable, you know? So if it's that you want to remember to walk your dog, you could, like, picture your dog, like, with the leash in his mouth, like, standing on his hind legs, like, by the door, like, glaring at you, you know? I mean, there you go. So then you have your memory, and, like, then you know you have to walk your dog or something. So then there's that. So I hope that's been helpful. If you have used this technique or use other techniques or something like that, let me know in the comments. Yeah, I think that's about it. I mean, if you found this video helpful or something like that, let me know as well. I always think it's cool when people tell me that they find my videos useful. So, thank you guys for watching. You guys are effing amazing, and I will see you tomorrow.